Okay, now let's talk a little bit about how to wire your lighting fixture. Most of the ones that you're going to want to put on your workbench do not come pre-wired, and they're going to provide you with a ballast. That's this. Now when you look inside, you'll notice that on the ballast there is a wiring diagram. I mean, you just want to follow the wiring diagram. It's not very hard. You have a black and white wire, which you're going to actually need to attach to an old extension cord. And then the yellow wire, red wire, blue wire, a couple other colors may be included. But just put them to where it shows on the diagram. Now what I did was I took a 14 gauge extension cord. I kept the male end, but I hacked off the female end. And you'll notice that there's a white wire, a black wire, and a green wire. You just want to attach the black wire to the black wire on the ballast, your white wire to the white wire on the ballast, and then the green wire, what you're going to want to do with that is on the back, when you screw your ballast in, you're going to want to put the green wire on the screw that you use to screw the ballast in. That way you actually have a ground. And it's as simple as that. Just don't do anything stupid. Make sure the power is off when you do this. Please do not have this plugged in when you're wiring it, because then you'll get shocked and I'll have to laugh at you and feel like an a-hole. Alright, now we're going to make the piece that will cover up the light on the top shelf. So what I did was I took a 2x6, since the light's a little bigger than a 2x4 would cover, and cut it. Well, I just got it at 8 feet, didn't cut it or anything, just stained it. And then cut these pieces at 19.5 inches. That's 18 inches for the shelf, and then since this is 8 feet and our shelf is 8 feet, this needs to go a little bit further. It needs to go on the very edge of the 8-foot board. That way we can cover up the shelf and everything looks nice and pretty. So I've already cut the pocket holes for this. Now let's just screw it in. Alright, now we have the piece that's going to cover up our shelf, and it looks nice and pretty. Now what we're going to do is we're going to attach this nice little piece to the top shelf that will cover up the light. What we're going to do is, I really don't want any screws showing from the front of this workbench. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to screw in a few screws down here, and I'm going to use wood glue along the top of the shelf to hold this piece on. Now, I mean, the wood glue is kind of necessary. I mean, I could get away with just aligning it right, but over time I don't want it to bow or anything, so I'm going to use a little wood glue to secure the two together. So let's get started. Now our workbench looks pretty. Alright, so the pocket holes are pre-drilled into the 2x4s that are just underneath the workbench. Now what we need to do is get the workbench top on. Now my top is 2 sheets of plywood thick. Each sheet is 3/4 inches, so it's about 1.5 inches of plywood on top. I'm going with a 2 3/8 inch screw, and this will allow these two pieces to be attached together. But if I ever need to take them apart, I can just undo these screws and I can take the top sheet of plywood off and replace it, say if it gets all gashed and nasty and I feel so inclined to do. Now we will take these screws, screw them in, and what I've done is, since I don't want to work from underneath the workbench, I've placed the sheets of plywood on top, I've squared them up, made sure they're in the place I want them. I took a 2x4 and 2 Irwin quick grips and attached the top to the 2x4s using the quick grips so that they're nice and tight. And then I'm going to put the screws nearest to the 2x4 on. Then I move the 2x4 elsewhere, keep the plywood firm against the workbench, and continue on. So let's get started. Okay, so 2 screws in. Now let's move the 2x4. Now we're all done getting the workbench on. Now that we have the piece for the shelf cut it to about 22.5 so that I could wedge it in here. If it was any longer, I'd have a hard time getting it in the holes on the side to slide it in to measure it like this. I've leveled it out on each side so it's perfectly centered. And now what we're going to do is we're going to make marks where the legs need to go. So we're going to cut out notches for the legs. So I just take my framing square, stick it in there, butt it up against the leg, draw a mark. Do that on each side of the leg. And then in this notch, I'm actually going to write front, so I know which side is the front, so I know which side I need to cut more off of. And then do that on each side, and in the back. So I'll do that in the back here. Put it up against the side and the back. One side, the other side. And now we know where we need to cut. And then we'll measure in X number of inches for however long we want this to come out. Now I want the lip to come out just to the edge of the 2x4, so I'm going to go in 3 inches on the front. And then I know that it's 18 inches wide between the front and back legs. And then the rest I'm going to chop off the back since there's a lot more room in the back to work with. Now at this point what you want to do is you want to slide in your shelf from one of the edges and then twist it in. I would show you the footage of me doing that, but it's not cute. It took a lot of effort to get this in and a lot of time. So I'll spare you, but just shove it in, take like a mallet or kick it in. I got on top of it, jumped on it a few times, like, you know, to get it in. That's what it took. So get the shelf in, that's the next step. Alright, now a few final words is I did wire some electrical on this workbench, but I'm not going to show that because there's way too many trolls in the electrical area out there on YouTube. I'm not even going to touch that right now, maybe later when I feel like putting up with the trolls. Also, the color that I used for the 2x4s is Gunstock. Love the color, I would definitely go with it again. The color I used for the top of the shelves and the tabletop here is Natural. And in retrospect, I might have gone a shade darker, but right now it doesn't really matter. I did wire in a light, and the one thing that I did have to do was do a switch, because it didn't come with like a pull string switch, which I'm okay with. I actually prefer this anyways. So just a flip of the light, you know, turns it on. And the color of these bulbs is not what what normal fixtures would come with. I bought some sunshine bulbs, which have a color temperature of 5000 K. That makes it so colors stand out a little bit more. It kind of replicates a full spectrum bulb, even though it's not. And you guys be sure to have fun when you build this. That's really what it's all about. Have fun, make it functional, and I hope you guys have a great time. Now the next footage is me screwing some things up, because that's what happens when you make a video. Might be entertaining. Also, there's a video out there for the safety trolls, because they would pretty much piss and moan if I don't wear hearing protection, eye protection, a respirator, a cup, and a condom. So, you know, for them out there, if they leave a comment, I can point them that part of my video. So you guys take care. Okay, now for all you safety trolls, you should wear eye protection, respiratory protection, and ear protection too. But for me, I just didn't want to look like this. This is kind of what I was trying to avoid. So for the rest of this video, you're not going to see me wearing any of that stuff. Line up perfectly. Don't want any wiggle room here, or as little as possible. And then take these amazing Irwin Quick Glip. Me. Looks like this. So we have a cutout for the 2x4 that holds the shelf, a cutout for the 2x4 that holds the workbench area, and then this actually butts right up against the workbench. Now, this piece is 9.5 inches long. This piece is 21.5 inches long. And then this piece is, shit, I don't know how long. God damn it. What's up? Oh, bringing that out here?
Yeah, let me go. I need to clean it out, wash it down.
All that good shit. Alright.
You're not filming right now, are you?
I am actually, but it's okay, I hadn't actually started saying anything yet.